All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for those of you who are on the call already, and we'll give it a few more minutes of dieseling to make sure everybody else can get on our call as well. While we're dieseling, I'll just introduce myself, and I'd love to give you some state of the state updates for where we are with prison, jail, and reentry ministry here at Willow Creek. So my name is Ann Rand, and I am the long-term solutions advocate for the Willow Creek Care Center. So under that title means I get the privilege of overseeing our prison, jail, and reentry ministry, along with some other areas in the compassion and justice realm at Willow, South Barrington. So I had the privilege of leading the prison, jail, and reentry ministry. It's got to be, I lose track of the years, but I think it's 13 or 14 years now that I've had the privilege of doing that. And it's always, it's never a dull moment. And it's always, it's a great blessing to me to meet so many wonderful people involved in, incarceration work, but also formerly incarcerated. Just great organizations that are doing great work. So it's a pleasure and a blessing to me. So, hey, I just wanted to give you some highlights and lowlights of where P&J and reentry is at this year. Hey, we delivered, I'll start with the Hope Packs that we did. We distributed 58,800 Hope Packs this year to the incarcerated in Illinois. And thanks to many of you, we were able to do that. Your help with packing bags, or, you might have helped with, helping with treats and just getting the word out to people. And so it's been such a blessing. So there's always highlights and lowlights, like every time we do stuff with prisons. For those of you involved in prison ministry, I don't have to tell you, there's plenty of stuff you never expected would happen. So for me this year was like 2 weeks before we distributed the Hope Packs, and I got a note from one of the jails saying, we don't like the cardstock you're using on the book cover. It's too thick. It's going to jam the locks in the doors. You're going to have to remove the covers off of 4,500 books. And so we said, okay. So me and a lot of volunteers got together, and we took our box cutters, and we, as nicely as we could, got rid of the covers off of 4,500 books. So that was, one example. And then one of the jails had a massive COVID outbreak right at the time that they were supposed to come and pick up. It was out of state jail. I think it's okay if I say which jail it was, Milwaukee County Jail. They had a massive COVID outbreak. So their stuff stayed on our dock for almost a month until they were able to receive it. And then their awesome chaplain came about 10 days ago and picked everything up. So the Milwaukee County House of Corrections got their stuff. We had some miscounts. For those of you who had a loved one at Hill, thank you so much for letting me know that the packs weren't delivered when we thought that they would be delivered. And so it took some conversations and us sending extras, and so Hill was delivered. And anyway, so it couldn't all happen without all of you. And so I always say, if you have a family member who's telling you something, who's incarcerated, please feel free to share that information with me. Or if we want to make sure that things get into the right hands to the right people at the right time. But highlights were the letters are flowing in from the Hope Packs. We encourage people to write us, and we respond to every single one. So our awesome correspondence team has been getting those letters. We're at about 200 letters that have come in. And we're just so blessed. And the highlight for me too is, I always share this, it doesn't really matter the number, but every year we receive tithe checks from the incarcerated who sometimes it's a widow's mite, like $3, $5, sometimes it's more. Last year, I believe we collected close to $8,700 in tithes and offerings from incarcerated individuals who wanted to bless, not only the prison, jail, and reentry ministry, the Hope Pack project, but also the care center and giving food to those in need and to families in need. So it's just, that touches me so tremendously. And then we had another donor who sent us a check because they had a loved one incarcerated. This person had no affiliation with Willow Creek at all, and they were just thankful. And I just think the heart of that kind of giving is just, that inspires me, and I think it's so beautiful and lovely. I just wanted to highlight that our book planning for 2022 is happening. So Hope Packs for 2022 got a green light, and our planning team is working on it. And for some of you who just have never put a book together or wouldn't know what it's like to put this book together, I was so proud of myself because I made these 2 spreadsheets. So this one, took me a good few hours to put together. Tells you how many puzzles and how many crosswords and how many pages are for testimonies and all that good stuff. So it's all broken down on this one. And then this one is all the themes in the book. It's the next one's going to be a 9-chapter book. So all the themes are broken down. And I was really proud of myself for putting those together. And then one of my co-laborers on the book, sent me her spreadsheet, and this is that spreadsheet. Okay. It's many pages, so I'm like, okay, but that's just gives you the heart of how this ministry is working 24/7, 365 days a year to do the work that's being done. And you're all a part of that, whether you're just coming on this meeting, but if you have an incarcerated family member, if you're doing visitation, we're so thankful for your work. I've got people on this team that do mentor support. I get phone calls every week from several people who are just about to be released, and we call them up, and sometimes our mentors meet with them, and and we've got people helping people get jobs. So all these great things are going on. The pen pals are continuing to write their letters. We get I would say we get about 50 to 60 pen pal letters in a week that have to be redistributed to pen pals because it's hard to come in the building right now at Willow. So it's just, it's just a joy. Our Restart group that meets every Tuesday night, rain, shine, cold, whatever the weather, they meet, whether it's virtual or in person, but that group is for people who have been formerly incarcerated. They do not miss a Tuesday night. So cheers to them. And our Emmaus correspondence group for people who want to learn more about the Bible, get involved with the correspondence learning program. They are going strong. Last year, again, they did thousands and thousands of booklets to people that got our stuff and said, hey, we want to learn more about God. So they're doing great work. Our computer connection ministry donated, we're getting ready to donate 10 laptops to Defy Ventures, which helps people with entrepreneurship. We've helped out Ready Chicago through the Heartland Alliance with laptops and desktops, and many other organizations that have need for technology. So all that to say, it's all of us using our gifts, right? And putting it together, people from different organizations, and we're all coming together saying, how can we make the life of the incarcerated person a little bit better, not only while they're incarcerated, but when they come out. And And are these issues we should care about? Are these issues that we need to go to bat about? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. And that brings me to our guest speaker this morning, who is living a life of trying to see change happen. I met our guest speaker this morning, Greg Chambers, about 2 weeks ago. He came to the Care Center for a tour. I was so stoked to have him come, and his compatriot Ardenise was with, and it was just a joy to meet the two of them. They were so enthusiastic, but for me to learn more about what they do was exciting. Greg Chambers is the policy organizer and a lobbyist for Live Free Illinois. He's also an acting board member for the Fully Free campaign, and he is just someone who has a heart for the incarcerated. Now, he has this heart because he himself has walked down that road. But when he started sharing with me the insidiousness of some of the laws that are on our books in Illinois and some of the punitive ways that people continue to be punished, even once released, it's frightening. It's demoralizing, and it's something we all need to be standing up about and saying it. We can't be silent. In other words, you know, if we just sit in the shadows and don't say anything, then we're just as guilty as perpetrating it ourselves. So I was really thrilled when he said yes. You know, and I'll just give you a quick example of him, you know, as having an aging parent. And there's a law on the books that doesn't allow a formerly incarcerated person to be the executor of their parent estate. Now, as someone who's lost my parents and my in-laws, I know how very important it is to have the opportunity to handle the closure of an estate of your family members. And so things like that are just, those are laws on the books that have no place in our society. So anyway, all that to say, we are extremely blessed to welcome Greg Chambers today to join us. And he's going to share with us, give you a little time of Q&A at the end, but I don't want to take away any more from Greg's time. So Greg, we are grateful you're here. Welcome, and you can take it away.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I truly appreciate your invitation to come and to present to this group. And I humbly accepted it. And I'm eager to get started. I'm a little nervous, so please bear with me. One thing that I want to say is you talked about your hope bags. And I want to let you guys know at Willow Creek that as a formerly incarcerated person, each year that I was incarcerated, I received a hope bag from Willow Creek. And it was, I can't convey how much that means to us when we get those bags. Now, everybody doesn't reach out and send letters and things like that, but everybody cares about that. When those bags come, guys are just running up and down the halls and trading things. And, oh, I want the cappuccino packet. I want this. And can you give me the socks for this and this, that, and that? And it's just such an excitement and a joy every Christmas time to receive those bags from you. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of the people who receive those bags over the years and currently and in the future, that you guys, that's a job well done. Anyway, having said that, I want to say that Live Free Illinois is a faith-based organization. On the screen that you're looking at, in the center of the screen is our executive director. She has been the executive director for 5 years, and her name is Sierra Bates Chamberlain. And and this is a good organization that I was able to join and help to bring about criminal justice reform in the Department of Corrections. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this PowerPoint presentation that we put together. I'm not here primarily to talk about Live Free, but I would be doing Live Free a disservice if I didn't talk about Live Free and what the organization does, because I'm here specifically to talk about Fully Free and the Fully Free campaign. Now, let me go here. These are the members of Live Free: Reverend Sierra Bates Chamberlain, Minister Willette Benford, lead decarceration organizer, of course myself, and Artenise Myrick, the lead Chicago organizer. Next, we have our 2021 state policy agenda, which was ending mandatory supervised release. We have a campaign which is designed to end mandatory supervised release, that we're in partnership with a number of organizations, including the Shriver Center on Poverty Law and Justice. And we actually have a bill that was filed this year by Representative Kelly Cassidy, and that is House Bill 5203. It was recently filed, and that is to bring some changes to MSR. MSR is mandatory supervised release, and that is formerly known as parole. And what it does is it has many restrictions, most of which result in someone returning to the Department of Corrections for technical violations, not because they committed a crime, but because of a technical violation, like they didn't telephone in time enough, or they didn't return in time from work or whatever. Other things we're doing, we have a campaign to block illegal ownership of firearms, ending abusive policing practices, and county jail safety and public health campaign. That is a campaign that we're to bring independent monitoring to county jails across the state of Illinois. And we think the necessity in partnership with us is Jennifer Volan Katz, the executive director of the John Howard Association. And now we have national campaigns for the People Act. Now that's a Project People. Project People is a campaign that we just started, which is to end to repeal the 1994 Clinton crime bill, which actually served to explode the population of the Department of Corrections, which went from at its lowest point, 18,000 people to 50,000 people. And now it's at about 27,000 roughly, and the numbers have been dwindling now. We have Break the Cycle of Violence. We have campaigns in Metro East, the East St. Louis area. We have campaigns in the Rockford area, and we're working with the Cabrini Green Legal Aid with the Clean Slate campaign. We have a community partners in dialogue with the Solidarity Building Initiative and the University of Chicago, the McCormick Theological Organization. And we have Reimagine Chicago and the Growing Alliance for Reentry and the Fully Free campaign. Now, I'm not going to belabor this. I want to speak very briefly. Our vision is to rebuild Black communities through the power of the Black church. Our goal is to help create thriving Black communities through building economic and political power, and by combating all forms of violence against Black community, fighting against mass incarceration, gun violence, and police brutality. We believe that communities can be transformed, lives can be saved, and Black people will live free. Our theory of change is grounded in the notion that faith communities are uniquely positioned to transform hearts, minds, and the systems and policies that govern our lives and oppress our most vulnerable communities. We believe that while acts of mercy and meeting immediate needs are crucial responsibilities of the church, Christians are also called to pursue justice and address root causes of violence and oppression. Here we talk about our gun violence campaign. We have a gun violence campaign, which is to create an office of gun violence prevention in the city of Chicago. Now, we were actually campaigning for this for a few years, and recently the mayor created, through executive order, a Office of Gun Violence Prevention, but we don't believe that goes far enough, because we don't believe it doesn't involve community partners, community-based organizations and partners who we believe know how to resolve these issues. We also have police accountability issues. We also deal with, we have justice teams. These justice teams we form in churches, and we train people on how to administer justice. We try to conduct one-on-ones with individuals who participate in trainings. We host a meeting with the pastor to establish a justice team with those interested in engaging in the justice ministry. Now, I don't want to belabor the point. Live Free's mission. I talked about that previously. The public health and safety campaign, public health campaign for gun violence. And we have Fund Peace. Fund Peace was an initiative that was started by Live Free America, which is our parent group. And we actually had representatives of Live Free who went to the White House to lobby for an amount of monies to be brought to the state of Illinois and to the city of Chicago to fight against gun violence. And we were able to procure $1.9 billion to be allocated for violence prevention in Chicago. And now the Fully Free campaign. I want to talk to you briefly about the Fully Free campaign. Well, before I get into that, I want to tell you about some of the campaigns we're working on now. I told you about the gun violence campaign. I also want to tell you about the campaign, the gang violence ordinance, the gang asset forfeiture ordinance that is being proposed by Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Now, there's a gang asset forfeiture. Now, there are on the books asset forfeiture at the state level and asset forfeiture at the federal level. And we believe these are adequate enough. These are adequate enough to handle all criminal matters and all people who are subject to asset forfeiture. But the mayor wants to create an ordinance to specifically target gang members when it's been proven that everybody who's in the Chicago Police Department database as gang members are not actually gang members. Some of these people have been stopped on the street and maybe have been with a gang member, and by virtue of that association were targeted as gang members. And then we believe that this will not only extend to those particular individuals who are alleged to be gang members, but it'll extend to parents. The law reads that if your house or your vehicle is used in furtherance of gang activity, then it can be taken. Well, so if 13-year-old kid is accused of being a gang member and lives with his grandma or lives with his mom, and then he is accused of bringing drugs into the house or accused of bringing a gun into the house, well, maybe that house can be seized, or maybe that vehicle that was used can be seized. And now this mother or this grandmother is left without a vehicle, without a house. These are things that we're fighting against because we think this is unnecessary, because there are already laws on the books that allow for the asset forfeiture. Now, we have people supporting this. The head public defender, Sharon Mitchell, is in support of this. The ACLU, Edwin Yonka, is in support of this. In opposition to, these people are in opposition to the gang violence ordinance. And Chicago Cred, Live Free, and a host of over 40 other organizations are opposed to this gang violence or this gang asset forfeiture ordinance. Now, Fully Free. Here's the problem, and I know Ann went into the problem a little bit, but I want to give you the problem. The problem is the current law. We are addressing. Fully Free is a group that's funded by Heartland Alliance, and its campaign manager is Marlon Chamberlain. And our goal is to eliminate barriers to reentry. We think there are hundreds of laws on the books that serve as permanent punishments to people who are returning home from incarceration. And we are poised to eliminate these laws. We have a host of attorneys who are scouring the books and analyzing these laws and determining which laws are actually permanent punishments. And we are repealing these laws. And the first law that we are trying to repeal is what Ann talked about. And this is an estate probate law. And what happens here is that the law specifically says it prohibits anyone with a felony conviction from serving as an executor or administrator of an estate after the family member or loved one has passed away. Now, this 4 decades old law is not supported by evidence or justification for its need. Now, the impact in Illinois, over 600,000 people have a felony conviction on their record. This is 600,000 people and their families that experience further anxiety and stress by limiting their ability to choose a loved one who is best positioned to handle this responsibility. Now, the solution, we have Senate Bill 3098 and House Bill 4490. These are, it removes the language in the Probate Act that prohibits anyone with a felony conviction from serving as executor or administrator of an estate. It brings Illinois one step closer to dismantling the permanent punishments constructed from years of punitive and misguided policies. Now, the Fully Free campaign works with leaders across the state to dismantle the laws and regulations that govern permanent punishments, which are the barriers that deny or restrict rights and opportunities for people with a record long after their involvement with the criminal legal system is over. In Illinois, there are hundreds of permanent punishment laws denying people employment, education, housing, and the ability to fully pursue all opportunities. And we're going around. Our goal is to mobilize 100,000 people with felony convictions, with a record all over the state. We have gone to Rockford. We have gone to Rock Island. We have gone to East St. Louis. We have gone to Bloomington. We have gone to Decatur. We've gone to Champaign. We are going all over the state, and we are setting up chapters in most of these areas, and we are mobilizing people to join, because as some people chant, it just ain't right. It's just not right that people who have served their time in prison for the crimes that they may have committed against society and have been rehabilitated and are trying to live productive lives to be constantly reminded of their past mistakes, and it served as a barrier to housing, employment, and education. How can you expect a person who is said to have been rehabilitated to get out and survive without being able to get housing? How can you expect the person to survive when he or she is not able to get a job, or he or she is not able to continue their education and get schooled because of laws that are on the books that serve as barriers to those specific entities? Now, the FREE Act, and we're calling it the FREE Act. And like I said, it's Senate Bill 3098 and House Bill 4490. The FREE Act is a name we came up with, which means families' rights to estate equity. Families' rights to estate equity. And the FREE Act would help restore the dignity of people living with a record. Currently, the law interferes with the ability to reintegrate back into the family after returning home. It also creates stress and family tension at a time when a family is experiencing hardship and loss. The FREE Act restores the right to carry out the last wishes of family members and loved ones. Many people being an executor of an estate is a final act of love, and we are denying people this opportunity to carry this out. Current restriction causes anxiety, stress, and shame for families. That stress is compounded with the person directly impacted when the person directly impacted is an only child. If you are an only child and have a felony conviction, your mother cannot name you as the executor of your estate. There are 35 states that have no laws preventing a person with a felony conviction on their record from serving as executor of an estate. People with criminal records face legal barriers, stigma, and limited economic opportunities. The restriction from being an executor of an estate impacts people and families in unseen and harmful ways. And this is just one of the many legal barriers that people with records have to navigate for the rest of their lives. Now, the FREE Act is supported by the Fully Free campaign, which works to dismantle laws and regulations that govern permanent punishments, the barriers that deny or restrict rights and opportunities for people with a record long after their involvement with the criminal legal system is over. In Illinois, there are hundreds of permanent punishment laws denying people housing, education, and employment. Now, the Fully Free campaign is led by a governing board made up of people who have been incarcerated, who have records, and who have been directly impacted by the criminal legal system, and is supported by hundreds of community members and organizations across the state in counties most impacted by permanent punishments. Now, I wanted to come here and talk to you guys as we're moving all over the state. As I said, I've been to Rockford, talked to Rockford, people in Rockford. We've been to Rock Island. We've spoken to people in Rock Island before Project Now in Rock Island, and we spoke there. We've been to East St. Louis, and we spoke to East St. Louis. We talked to legislators each and every day, state senators and state representatives, and to garner support for this piece of legislation, which is our starting point. And we at Fully Free campaign, that is, as I said, I know you guys have some connection to Heartland Alliance, that is funded by Heartland Alliance. We are seeking support all over the state, and we would like support from you here. Now, we have spoken to legislators, and some of the concerns are that they would like to have carve-outs, and we're not averse to carve-outs. And so the carve-outs that they're talking about is because we believe that this law was created for the protection, to some extent, of elderly people. And we love our elderly community. We love our elderly community. We love our elderly parents. And some of these legislators are saying that they will not support it unless it has a carve out for someone who is convicted of like an abuse of an elderly person, an elderly parent, elderly grandparent, or something like that. And we support that. We support that. What we're saying is that it should not be an absolute ban to anyone with a criminal record, especially if your criminal record does not relate to the abuse of an elderly person. And so what we want to do is we want to move across the state, and we want to talk to every group, elderly, young, whatever, and anything in between, and garner support for this piece of legislation and those that are to come, because we're not finished. This is just the start. This is the start. And we thought this was a good starting point, because there's another bill. And I think that I'm going to mention this, and I'm going to mention it because I think nobody knows about it. There's a bill that prevents a person with a felony conviction from entering and playing in a bingo game. Really? Well, nobody knew that existed until we scoured the books and found it. Bingo? Really? If I'm an elderly person and I just got out and I'm with an elderly community and we want to go to a bingo game, I can't go because I have a felony conviction. You got to be kidding me. And so when we talk to people and we tell people that this exists, that this is on the books, they can't believe it. Even legislators. We talked to legislators. The sponsor of this bill, Kelly, no, that's the sponsor of 5203. I'm sorry, Kelly Cassidy is the sponsor of 5203. That's the MSR bill. But Kelly Cassidy was even shocked when we told her that. Really? That actually exists? And the answer is yes, that exists. But it's the start, but it's not the end. There are more laws like this that are just absolutely ridiculous that we intend to repeal. And that's what the campaign is about. And the starting point, again, was the FREE Act. And we would love for you as individuals We're not asking the church, but we're asking you as individuals to support the FREE Act, and contact your legislators and tell your legislator that you support the FREE Act. We would really appreciate that. And if you visit the fullyfree.org site, I believe there is a section in there where you can actually submit a witness slip on behalf of supporting the FREE Act.